So yeah, I'll kick off then, since it looks like I'm probably in the best position to do that. There was an agenda, and usually it starts with a recap of the last meeting. But from my point of view, to be honest, I didn't make any notes because I thought it was getting recorded, but there was a technical problem with that recording. And so usually before one meeting starts, I have a quick scan through the previous recording just to familiarise myself where we were up to. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that. So from memory, we did talk about the TELx proposal, and we more or less parked that until further notice because of various things that I can't quite bring to mind at the moment. I talked at length about my proposal, the single asset provision, and we did talk. Andrew pointed us to the new was it version 3 of Balancer, where there's a different process for providing LPs, and it's more user control orientated as far as I could understand. There was an educational video that explained how it would work, and rather than you just simply providing liquidity into a pool and it getting spread across all price ranges, you can actually target the price range that you want your liquidity to be concentrated in, and you get potentially more share of the rewards because others will be outside that range. The drawback being is if the price moves outside your targeted range, then you don't get any fees. So you have to manage your position and you have to set the parameters. So it's well worth having a look at that video that Andrew posted somewhere. I can't remember where he posted it. The Uniswap version 3 pools. So that's really, I think, what we talked. Unless Matt, were you online last time, Matt? I can't remember. Maybe you couldn't add anything to that.
Hey, yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, quite faintly, Matt.
Ah, shoot. Okay, I'm in a car right now, so I was trying to get to a place where I could get better audio. But
Okay,
that is
that's fine now.
okay. Cool. Yeah, that's about what I remember. Was the V3 talking about Sol? I don't think we. I think maybe I briefly brought up getting on looking at a pool on base, but that's my recollection of the conversation, and I don't think it was recorded. Right? I think we had an issue with the recording.
Yeah, but I see we've got the recording icon up here now, so hopefully we are recording. So if I could then just piggyback onto that, just to bring you up to date where we are with my proposal. I engaged with Dave, who I see is listening in, who's on the Compliance Council, and tried to get a read from them on the consideration that I stated as the main one that I'd like a read on, which was basically what I'm proposing is a much simpler way for the uneducated user that wants to invest liquidity, has some spare coin on the Polygon chain at the moment that he wants to use as collateral. But he doesn't want to go through swapping it to TEL, then joining a pool on Balancer with another token, then getting his LP tokens in Balancer, and then jumping back into TELx to stake them to get rewards. That's quite a complicated process. There's a lot of decisions that the uneducated guy has to make, which pool, be aware of impermanent loss, how will the prices change with time, and how long he's wanting to invest on. There's a whole bunch that I've outlined in my proposal that's excuse me, difficult for them to to go if they're not familiar with the concept of providing liquidity. So what I was proposing was a much simpler idea where he had some coin. He said, I want to put this into a pool. I'm not particularly bothered about what pool it goes into. And the system, based on a ratio that it calculates, and I suggested the total liquidity of the pool divided by transaction volume, because if you've got a low transaction volume going through the pool and there's a lot of liquidity, then there's probably a pool that could benefit more from that, i.e. a pool with low liquidity and high transaction volume. And so the system would look at that ratio, select a pool that would benefit the most from his liquidity, and then present that to him with a expected kind of rate of return, which isn't guaranteed, but it gives them an indication of what he would expect back in terms of the share of rewards from investing in that pool. And then he can decide whether or not to proceed or not. But it's a simple one-click kind of operation. And in the background, all the smart contract work would take his token, convert it into the tokens that are required, put it into the pool, bring back the liquidity tokens, and stake them in TELx. And so a lot of the decision, a lot of the complexity of supplying liquidity would be taken away from the user, and it becomes a simple one click. The big thing about that is by taking away the decision from the user as to what pool he wants to provide liquidity into, then is that a direction that the TELx wants to go in, or the Telcoin platform wants to go in? And so that seemed to be quite a pivotal, fundamental point that needed to be addressed. So I kind of approached the Compliance Council to say, what is the impact of this? Is it legal? Is it strategic? Is it political for us to want to do this? And we've kind of been going round it a little bit in circles with debating the value of the proposal, rather than actually just saying, yes, here's a read from the compliance. It's not helped by the fact that the Compliance Council is made up of 4 members, 2 of which are from the Telcoin team, and they've been obviously fully employed elsewhere with the bank charter hearing and everything else. So there's only really been 2 active members, Matthew and Dave, and I've been engaging with them and going round in circles a little bit with Matthew. So I haven't really got a proper read yet from the council, but I don't want to waste any more of anybody else's time. So I think my proposal, it's now gone through 3 iterations. We've discussed it last time on this council. I embedded some of the considerations that were raised from that discussion. I've talked it through with Grant on the technical side, and embedded some comments that he made. So the current version is version 3. So I think that's as polished as I want to make it now. So I'm going to take it to the next step, which is to present it as a formal proposal to the TELx Council. I'm not sure exactly what I do to do that. And maybe I see It's Your Boy is in the audience, and maybe he could come up to the stage and give me a little bit of guidance on that. I know I need to publish it on the Telcoin forum, and I know there's some automatic linking with what happens on the forum, and it gets messages get replicated back in the Discord channel. But I'm not sure exactly how to turn this into a formal proposal that then gets that goes to the 2-week review process without us and then gets snapshotted. So I don't know if It's Your Boy can jump on the stage. Ah, here he is, yes. And maybe give me some guidance as to that process.
Hi,
Thanks, Leo.
you're good. You're along the right lines, yeah. So you'll kind of formalize the proposal in the forums. Everything that's posted on the forums gets posted back to Discord as well. So that's that kind of one-way system I mentioned to you previously. Once you've got it out on the forum, your council will also set up a snapshot and vote on it on chain, basically. So we can help you set that all up. It'll probably be easier kind of in writing, but that's pretty much it, yeah. So all the council members will then vote on that proposal and it will either succeed or fail. The compliance council will also have the opportunity to veto that at any point, I believe. But as you've been in conversation with them, it's probably unlikely that that's going to happen. So yeah, I'm happy to answer it. Kind of, you can drop me a DM anytime. We can run through it in more detail, but roughly speaking, that's right.
Great, thanks, Leo. What's the time frames then? I mean, I can proceed with this now because, as I say, I've more or less finished what I need to do on it. I'm happy with the state it's in at the moment. So if I upload it into the forum, and then what's the time frame for review? I know snapshot is 5 days. You have to actually vote on it, but is there there's a review period before then?
I think just as the timing kind of kicks in once it's on snapshot, as you say. So get it on snapshot, then people have 5 days to vote. That's the only real time constraint. The forum post doesn't really matter in that regard.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's not a review period before it then goes to snapshot for voting. That there's just the one snapshot period
Yeah,
that the review is on.
snapshot is the time constraint. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, maybe if we have a quick exchange after this meeting, then I can upload the copy. Does it need to be in a? Okay, with the forum, you can't upload documents. You've got to paste the text. Is that right?
Yeah, please. Paste the text. It takes Markdown, so it should kind of understand the formatting you want to get on. But yeah, paste the text rather than getting people to download documents and open files on their computer.
Right. Okay. Paste the text. Right. Okay. Well, if are you available for a wee while after this chat and just to guide me through that and make sure it's in the right format for the purpose?
It's a bit late here, but I can get onto it in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you
Okay.
drop
No,
me all the
I'll
information.
ask myself. Okay. Thanks, Leo. Very helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. Happy to help.
Cheers. So, okay, we lost Matt halfway through that conversation.
Chelmsford, Witham, White Notley, Pressing,
And it looks like Tim's just pulling into a station. Okay.
That was the announcement. She's speaking over me. All I was going to ask, if you can hear me, is this something that you know is going to work, or will it need testing?
Oh no, we need testing. Have you read the proposal, Tim?
To be honest, no.
Well, have a read, and you'll see it does require some software development. It does require a user interface. It does require some smart contract work. So yes, it will require development. I did chat with Grant, the technical side, and we estimated probably a couple of people 20 to 30 hours a week for 2 months. So that's the rough cost. But have a read of
Just
it.
I was just wondering whether you've done any to make sure that it does actually work, or is it just an idea?
Just an idea.
Okay. Yeah, because I think it's important to know, how much time is going to be needed to spend on the testing. That's all.
Yeah. Well, have a read. There's been 3 versions uploaded to the Discord so far, Tim. So, and it's been floating around for 4 or 5 weeks. So, focus on version 3. It's only about 8 or 10 pages, so it's not. So have a read of that, and I'm sure that'll answer. And DM me if you've got any questions, either post on the forum or go through the Discord discussion thread.
That's cool. Thanks for pointing that out. And that's what these kind of meetings are for, to make sure that everyone's nobody's missing things. If something gets posted on the forum, make sure people get their attention drawn to it.
Okay. I won't be too hard on you, Tim, for not reading my proposal, because if we move on to the second item on the agenda, which is upcoming proposal review, I haven't actually read any, but to be fair, I haven't seen anything on the incentive distribution and allocation proposal and the compliance concern with analytics on TELx. This was something I think Andrew touched on last meeting. I haven't seen these proposals in a readable format anywhere, either on the forum or on this channel. So I'm not sure what state of review they are in. I'm not even sure who's actually raising these proposals. And Tim, I don't know if you've got any insight into those proposals either.
I was kind of hoping that Andrew would be here to update us on those.
Right. Okay, so we will just park that then for this meeting. There's no point in flogging a dead horse on that. The third item is opening the questions to the community. So I don't know if we've only got a couple of non-council members in the community, Dave and Ellipside here. So any questions from Matt? Oh, Dave's come on stage as well. That's good. Hi, Dave.
Hey, sorry, no questions for me. I was in a bad cell zone, but I'm back on now, and I'm here.
Okay. Hi. Do you want us to recap anything? Really, I'm just going through the my proposal and promoting it to more or less the snapshot vote. So turning it from a discussion document more into a formal proposal to be voted on, Matt. I'm not sure how much of that discussion you heard with It's Your Boy or not.
No, not a lot of it. I think the question I have that is outstanding as it relates to not just your proposal, but all proposals, I had thought, maybe I'm misinterpreting how the process was going to work, but I was kind of thinking that when something was putting forward to a snapshot, it was one of those things where it was kind of a no doubt, like there was no question it was going to pass sort of thing, and it wasn't, not that there wasn't much for debate, but that all the debate would have happened prior to it going to snapshot. And so I want to make sure I'm understanding maybe that process 100%. I'm not sure if we have any experts that can opine on that, but that was my understanding of it. But other than that, I don't have any other questions or concerns right now.
Okay. Probably Leo is the best person to answer that question.
Yeah, so you kind of decide as a council to take it to snapshot, and so you should have a pretty clear idea of what the result's going to be. You guys are the only ones voting on that, so it is kind of up to you guys to, I guess, decide that you're taking it to snapshot and then formally vote on the proposal on snapshot. So I kind of leave that with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think maybe I was wondering, based on our discussions that we've had, wasn't there some? I guess I thought there were some questions about like feasibility or technical specs that we hadn't completely fleshed out yet in order to send it to snapshot, or in order for it to even be like possible. So maybe I'm misinterpreting again prior conversations we've had around it. So I can re-listen to some of those and make sure I'm caught up.
I think Dave wants to jump in.
Yep, can you hear me?
Hi, Dave. Yeah.
How are you?
Hi, good.
No.
Thanks, you.
Not to throw an. I know you're on version 3 already, but not to throw another kink in there. But just something that I don't know if you could look into it, whatever. But a while back, before we had just these 6 pools, we did have like a generalized pool with like 8. You know, I think it was when the Telcoin app added all the different Polygon assets on there, and they did create that generalized pool where it's kind of almost what you're talking about. And if they could somehow make a generalized pool with the 6 that are in there, so you could if you want to go in there one at a time and if you know how to do it, you can. You have those 6 individual ones. But if they made a generalized pool with those 6 things like they had before, that way, if the person is choosing just to go into that generalized pool, they are making the decision. So as far as like you reaching out to the compliance saying, we're just going to take that decision away from you, it's not going to balance it out like you're planning of taking the lowest one and adding it all to there until they're all equal. But it is adding it to basically all of them and doing it in a generalized way where if they don't want to make a decision, don't want to do it, you still have to go through that whole process of, one asset, one click, put it all into that pool. But if they do have another generalized pool like they did, it seems like that could kind of fix a few other things.
Yeah, can I just clarify that then, Dave? It was a generalized concept in terms of rewards, but these rewards were grouped together over about a dozen pools.
Right.
So you still, even although it came under the general incentives grouping for rewards, you still had to go through Balancer and go into the coin pairs. So if you had Sol that you wanted to pair up with Tel, you went into the Tel Sol pool on Balancer, got your rewards, and then because it worked completely differently from the other pools, I think you held the LP tokens in your wallet, and there was an airdrop, if I remember correctly, to give you the rewards once a month from that general incentive grouping. But it wasn't like a pot of coins that you could then just put something into. There was individual pools set up, so it was different, and I think that even then that became too complicated because of the way the rewards. It was a complicated reward structure as well, and so I would personally want to avoid that scenario again.
Okay. No, just throwing it out there.
Yeah. No, fair comment, Dave. Fair comment. But it was another. It worked completely different, and I think the idea was to extend that as more coins were added. But then suddenly there was like 100 coins added to the Telcoin app trading group, and I don't know that they weren't reflected in 100 pools on Balancer.
No, and I think they decided at the time 8 was the max or something like that. And if they wanted to add more, it would actually be another whole separate pool with 8 different but they wanted to cap it at 8 in each one of those individual generalized
I
incentive
think
pools.
it started at 8, it grew to 12, and then
Yeah.
they said they'd cap it at 15, and then there would be another set of rewards for another 15 groupings. But it
Right.
just got really complicated, and yeah, so no. I won't complicate the proposal further. But what I will do is I'll put it, I'll load it up onto the forum, because that's where it should go, and then Matt and Tim and probably Mike, we'll give them a chance to comment on it, because I've had some feedback, but not from every member of the council. So, and I think it is a good idea to try and get a general buy-in first, because if anybody's totally against it, then I don't think there's any point in. Well, again, I can't remember offhand what the rules are for voting. I think we need 5 out of 6.
Right.
So
Yeah,
even if
each
one,
one was different.
yeah, I think we can still pass the proposal on
Oh, I
snapshot.
definitely, like you were asking before, I definitely think it's something not, almost have like the finished draft of what you for that snapshot, but definitely be something that you guys all debate, and whether or not, I'm sure everybody's on board in different iterations of it. But
yeah, and the other thing about I think that Matt raised there was, it's when you've got a development project, it's sometimes not clear how much development's involved until you get into the nitty-gritty, and getting into the nitty-gritty requires some work and therefore incurs some cost.
Right.
And so you can't fully accurately estimate the cost of a development project until you've done some detailed scoping and some detailed specification. And
Right.
so, yeah.
Well, you could end up having a 2-minute conversation with whatever engineer is the one who's going to draw this all up and put it to fruition, and they're just going to look at it and say, "Nope, it's not going to work." You know what I mean? Like they're the ones who know that you really need to talk to and say, "Is this doable?" Which it sounds like it is. It's just a matter of, like you said, how much work and time and effort and money you go into it.
Yeah, and I have had, as I said, I have had that discussion. We spent about an hour thrashing through the proposal, and it was Grant and I can't remember the other person's name. But yes, and they both agreed that it would probably be off the measure 2 people, a back end and a smart contract guy, working on it 20 to 30 hours a week for 2 months, 8 weeks.
Right.
So
And
in
in your proposal too, is it where would so like you said, people have a token that they want to, whatever it is, and they want to throw it into a pool, whatever. And I know your way is going to have it be whatever the lowest performing pool, just to boost it up and whatnot. Where is that going to be? Would that be on TELx that they're?
Yes.
This one button, you know what I mean? The one click, like here, this is the button you click. That's going to be on there, because if they could do, I'm sure people have wanted that one click for a long time just to be able to do it. So even without necessarily creating, a different pool or anything like that, having a button of one click, and yes, still letting the people have the decision of the 6 pools that are there. It's almost like work should be done on that one click button. Never mind for a different pool, even just the existing pools that we've got. Say, yeah, I just got this, and here are my choices. I know it's going to take away all those extra steps on TELx, but they can still choose. It's really getting that one step button going. Really, that I think is the most important part of it.
Yeah, and I've put that in as an alternative solution. Yep. There's a section on alternative solutions in the proposal, and I have mentioned that because that has worth in itself. I totally agree with you there, Dave. And right. Also, although we can't influence or dictate how the mobile app gets developed. I think if the groundwork is done for the modules, that the code that needs TELx to work, then it's a stepping stone to maybe having that one-click function available on the TEL app. So there are benefits to progressing this proposal in one form or another. There are tangible benefits. So
and the end result in the end is just making TELx easier.
Yes.
And I know, I know when I first started doing it too, obviously, all right, and it is a little easier now because there's only 6 pools, but I can look at them and say, well, this is where everyone's money is. This must be a good one. And look at the rewards and the fees and stuff that this one's generating. I want to be in that. I want to be in the one that's really getting used and whatever. So if I could say, hit that one-click button, even if that's just a quick glance over and, using common math and saying, I think this one's better. But still having that one-click button, that I think that would just solve a lot of problems, like you said.
Yeah. So I think the progression of it goes through compliance first, then it goes through treasury and platform. And I think at that point, then some of the technical questions about what gets done gets answered. And then, the decide. So it's like an evolution of the concept, the idea, as it progresses through the various council voting structures.
And I'm great to keep going back and forth with you, like I said, but eventually we're gonna need some support here for getting some actual legal minds who know what the hell is going on.
I do appreciate the exchanges we've had, Dave, over the last couple of weeks, and it's been very reassuring.
Oh yeah, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, good man. Thank you.
No problem.
So I'll, as I say, just to recap for Matt's benefit, I'll load it up onto the forum because that's the start of the proper place. Then it gets flicked back, the messages get flicked back into Discord. We can hammer it out as a council, and then we decide to vote. Good. Okay. Anything else for Matt or Tim?
Sorry, can I just jump in? Because I've got to jump off the screen in a second. Love what you're saying. Can we try and have some sort of notification system where we're getting closer to a vote on something? So when you got a final version of this proposal, to draw everyone's attention to it, because put my hand up, I'm missing things that are posted in the forum and Discord. So I'm going to need some sort of fail-safe notification thing to say, hey, come and have a look at this. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
There is a specific channel for IP discussions, which, I mean, there's no shortcut, there's no fail-safe, Tim. You have to actually go onto Discord or the forum and look at the discussion threads. It's just like, when you look at pool tips or the power holders thread in Telegram, you have to go in and read the thread.
I appreciate that. It's just that when it's coming to a conclusion, when we're getting close to voting on something, to have some sort of notification say, right, we're nearly ready on this. It's really important. Can you please go and look at it if you haven't? Some people don't go in there all the time. I'm just thinking ahead that being quite busy myself at work, it's difficult at times to keep up with everything. So, when it comes to something important, because if there's some sort of notification system, that's all I've done.
I don't know what the snapshot process is, but I'm sure there is a notification, just like when we all voted on the council elections or we voted on TGIP1,
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean that all came essentially from company, but if it's something between us, maybe if it's something as simple as a DM between the council here and the council members to say, right, get your act together, don't miss this one. We're coming close to a vote. It's something that can be between us. It doesn't have to be a big official notification system for the whole district.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it goes with the territory, Tim. Okay. Any other Q&As? We've lost we've lost our audience completely now. So everybody that's on the stage is the ones that are participating. So if we just go round quickly, I've nothing more to say really. Dave, any final comments?
No. I mean, well, you just like he was just asking too. Definitely, that one of those top when you're on the Discord page for this association, that top page with those TELx proposals. There's people back and forth and that going on, and I'm sure when it gets closer or a vote is actually imminent, whatever. But yeah, you definitely got to check that Discord for just any updates, and on yours right there with the TELx proposals and stuff. That you've got the link right that brings you to the forum right in there. So I mean, it brings you everywhere you got to be, but you definitely got to just kind of be on top. I'm sure when it does get closer to a vote, yeah, it's going to be obvious. There's going to be either another channel or an announcement or whatnot, but up until then, of keeping a track of your different versions and stuff like that, yeah, I would assume the TELx group is just gonna check in either that TELx channel on there or like that proposal one up top. So
Yeah, cool.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. No problem. As long as we know, that's it. Okay. That's all for me.
Matt, any final words?
No comments nothing else from me at the time.
And just from a personal point of view, thanks for going along to that hearing.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's glad to be there. It was a good time.
Yeah. So that was it was good to have some boots on the ground there.
Yeah, no, it was good to meet it was good to meet the team. Good, I wanted to sign the flag, so I'm glad the flag was there, and exciting times ahead.
Yeah, I've still to try and get the flag down to New Zealand somehow. I'm not sure how that's going to happen.
I'm sure it's going to get there. It's going to get there.
Yeah, I think it's headed to Switzerland next, maybe. But ask if you can ask Danny. Dan, I don't know who Danny sent it to, but if you can ask Danny who he sent it to, maybe you can find out who he sent it to, and maybe be next on the list.
Yeah. It's the postage probably that puts people off.
Probably not cheap.
No, but then I have to pay to send it to the next person anyway. So swings and roundabouts. Okay, Leo, any final comments?
I think you mentioned at one point there taking the proposal to the platform council and treasury councils. I don't believe that's required for this one unless there is kind of an external funding requirement that would, funding from the TEL treasury. So that's just something to bear in mind. And then on the topic of notifications, I'd suggest everyone just turn your notifications on your phone or whatever device you use, and just ping each other using an app when the time comes or when you need to get someone's attention, and it should pop up on their phone. Other than that, all good.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We might as well call this to a halt now. Now, the next meeting, just before we go, the next meeting was on Boxing Day or Christmas Day, which has been cancelled. So we do have a little bit of a break now until January the 8th.
Welcome